want to show you something.
Stand by.
On the morning shift.
Anything
could happen.
Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift.
All right, good morning, everyone. Welcome to Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift. I'm AJ Walsh. Glad to be here with you on this Friday, September the 15th, 2023. We're going to have a good show for you today. Lots to talk about as usual. It is, we get started with the weather, and then we'll talk about some local stories coming into our Sudbury.news news aggregating website where all the local news comes into one convenient location. So you can click on that, goes to the various news source that wrote the story, and voila, they get the clicks, the eyeballs, the revenue from that. And that's a service that we offer for free to local journalists and local journalism here in Sudbury. And so this is a volunteer show on a volunteer station, volunteer run station. And basically, it is supported from kind people like you who make donations to us or volunteer your time. So CKLU, been around since 1984, started off in a humble little trailer on the campus, originally Ramsey Lake Road, and now is in the old Telegraph building, all part of the new McEwen School of Architecture, all part of Laurentian University on the corner of Elgin and Elm Street, downtown Sudbury. And that's where we broadcast from now. Still volunteer run and user supported or listener supported, basically. And we rely on that, and we rely on volunteers to run the station. People like myself who have a show. If you have an idea for a show, all you do is email the GM, Rob, at gm@cklu.ca, and you just pitch him the idea that you have for a show, and voila, you don't have to do a show like I'm doing where it's video streamed as well. You can just do audio on the radio. So also, along with being at on the radio, CKLU 96.7 FM, we're also at cklu.ca. We're streaming. You click on the Radio Player Canada app and you can listen to us. You can download that same Radio Player Canada app and take us with you and listen to us anytime, anywhere on your favorite device. And today we're also streaming on YouTube at youtube.com/Sudbury News. So if you want to hop on there, for the time being, we're there. We figured out, for now anyways, a way to continue to do that. But Bill C-11, Bill C-18 from our federal government is making it harder and harder for people like myself to just have a show like this. So we got a lot of people jumping on already, and want to give some shout outs to those. So we'll come back right after the weather, and we'll do that. We'll talk about local headlines, and we'll do our deep dive that we started yesterday into foreign interference in our country's issues and politics and media. And yeah, so we'll do that right after this. As usual, Sudbury Weather is brought to you by sudburyweather.ca. It just basically lands on the Sudbury.news website and for all the latest weather. Now, it's not the greatest in the world, so I'm not promoting it as, it's the one-stop shop for weather. There's so many great options for weather. But anyways, that is what we have is just a simple, weather update right on our homepage as well. Anyways, if it was me, I probably wouldn't use that as my main source for weather, just to be honest. But at the same time, we do offer that as a website I built basically myself. I don't know how to build websites, so it's a miracle the darn thing is running. So when you're on it, you're going, well, this could be better and that could be better. You can send us your suggestions because we're totally open to them. And I do have a guy now who's going to at least make it better from what I started with it. So currently it's 8 degrees out there, and mainly sunny. Today, you can expect a mix of sun and cloud, becoming cloudy near noon. Fog patches dissipating this morning. And the high today will be 21. So it'll be a beautiful, almost, summery day as we head towards fall. The UV index will be 4 or moderate. Tonight, partly cloudy, low of 8. Saturday, mix of sun and cloud, and wind will be moderate. High of 22, so it'll be 1 degree warmer tomorrow. The UV index will be 1 notch higher at 5 or moderate. I'll look at your forecast again. Mix of sun and cloud, high of 22 for Saturday. 40% chance of showers on Sunday, high of 17. 40% chance of showers, high of 18 on Monday. And then mix of sun and cloud for Monday and Tuesday, 21 and 23 degrees. So we got some pretty nice weather in terms of temperature. And then 24 predicted so far on the Thursday of next week. But, as things get closer to that, I'm sure it'll change. And there's a chance of showers for Thursday as well. Look at your satellite. I'm not sure when this was. But, 1 a.m. this morning. So it's rather recent. You got the clouds coming down from the northwest Ontario, and but for now it's clear over Sudbury and area. So this is it's going to be a good day, a good weekend. That's your Sudbury weather, brought to you by SudburyWeather.ca. We'll be back with news headlines, your comments, and much, much more right after this. Okay, and welcome back. Glad to be here with you today. Make sure to, if you're on YouTube and you're watching the show, to feel free to comment. And if you have a handle, I'm just going to address you as the handle more than likely, unless you've divulged it and I can remember what your real name was. And sometimes I might not. I just have to give that disclaimer. So let's see. I think this is Jesse. But anyways, the purely capitalist market in Canada has failed. Prices are soaring higher and Canadians are being screwed. Not candidates, but Canadians are being screwed. And again, on top of that, so a justification market must be put in place for grocery stores to landlords. They should now have to justify the increases, and if they cannot, they will be denied. So something to be done in terms of soaring prices, whether it's rent or it's grocery prices. I fully agree that, we're just in a state of inflation and soon to be hyperinflation. And it's just not good for the average person, right? As mortgages come due now, people had their 5-year mortgages, the ones that weren't on the floating one, they're not going to feel the pinch of the interest rate hikes until their mortgage becomes due. But I've been hearing more and more and more people's mortgages doubling and over doubling what they had previously, right? So can you imagine all your expenses all of a sudden overnight just doubling? Are we prepared for something like that? What's going to happen to Canada? It's crazy. We'll talk a little bit more about that later. Good morning, Monique. Thanks for being with us. Good morning, Sudbury, with a nice sunshine emoji. Danica, good morning, Sudbury. Happy Friday. Heart emoji. Good morning, Danica. Denise, good morning, everyone. And Brian, good morning, Nickel City Campers. And South Point 73. I do believe you told me who you were yesterday. And I think it's Tracy, but okay, could be wrong. Like I said at the beginning, I'm sorry if I'm not remembering everyone. So good morning to all. Woof, 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 woof. Appreciate that. Some good humor in the morning. Always great. Keeps us on our toes too. Denise, good morning. I see excited for September 20th. Bless the journey always. Okay. September the 20th. It's a date. The pages got smaller also for some things. So not sure, $4 for peanut butter with chemicals and $7 for organic. Yes. prices are continuing to soar. Somebody sent me a video yesterday. I believe it was Denise. It could be wrong, but anyways, maybe I could just share that now. Since we're talking about prices, before we even get into the local news headlines, since it's here anyways, and since I can, and I have the ability to do this, and I'm not going to share the library video just because it's not the one that I was looking for. But where did it go? Here it is, possibly. Yes, here we go. So here, this is from the Canadian Taxpayers Federation, which these guys are, they got the finger on the pulse of our taxes and inflation and the money we're paying for things. So here's a little rant from them, and we'll be back right after this.
Breaking news, folks. It looks like Trudeau is threatening a grocery store tax. It sounds too crazy to believe, but I just finished watching a press conference where he said he's going to bring grocery store owners to Ottawa, and they got to come up with a plan to lower grocery prices. And if they can't come up with the plan that Trudeau likes, he says he might impose, quote, tax measures. Can you believe that? Like, what do you think that means? You think that means Trudeau's going to lower taxes? Well, I think that means he's going to bring in a grocery store tax, a tax on groceries. Well, here's a problem. Taxes aren't going to make groceries more affordable. It's Trudeau's carbon tax that's making groceries more expensive, making it more expensive for farmers to use natural gas or propane on their farms, making it more expensive for the truck driver that delivers groceries to the store, more expensive to fill up their big rig with diesel. And when Trudeau's carbon tax makes it more expensive for farmers to produce food and truckers to deliver food, he's making it more expensive for you to buy the food. So we got to fight back on this. No way can we allow a federal government to even muse about a grocery store tax. Instead, Trudeau should immediately do the one thing that would make life more affordable, including groceries, and scrap the carbon tax. But don't worry, folks, we are going to fight this. There's no way that we want to hear our Prime Minister even musing about a grocery store tax. More to come. Stay tuned, folks.
So there you have it. It's the Canadian Taxpayers Federation basically reporting on the hearing that Justin Trudeau is calling all of those in the grocery industry to Ottawa and basically going to tell them they need to lower their prices, or he's going to put a tax on the food. I don't understand the reasoning, or I don't understand the logic there. I don't understand the logic of a lot of the things that have been done over the last 8 years myself, in politics in general, but definitely from our federal leaders and the ones making policies and regulations and legislations. It's just not cohesive. It's just not, it's not conducive to life. It seems like an attack on life itself, or quality of life. You might call it an attack on what we call the middle class. And there's always been those who've said there's been an attack on the middle class and trying to bring us back to what life has kind of been before. We've been able to enjoy in North America, where we actually had a middle class, people who, it wasn't just kings and peasants, or an oligarchy and just poor people. And we that was different about our countries here, that we had a middle class in the West. And it seems like there's a concerted effort out there, and even if it's just to bankrupt, just an attack on the economy alone would get rid of the middle class. And it seems like that's what's happening. And if you see AI is kind of around the corner, it's going to take away many, many, many jobs. And then with inflation and people not able to afford things, you can kind of see how that is possible. And then we'll talk about foreign interference as part of that as well. And then you can definitely bet your bottom dollar, because that's all you're going to have is a bottom dollar coming up very shortly if you're not already there yet. Let's see. And it had a justification market. Justin Trudeau would have to justify his tax for sure. Food is free. I'm so happy for our gardens. Next, we go hunting. That's if you have a gun, right? So they're doing their best to get rid of those as well. So sad that the people are resorting to doing their grocery shopping at the dollar store. That is true. Healthy groceries produce a healthy immune system. What quality of groceries are Canadians able to afford? Very true on that one. I think Canadians, and that was Tracy. So no, that wasn't. That was Serenity Now. Okay, the person's not coming to mind just at the moment, but it could be Belinda, but I'm not 100% sure. Anyways, like I said at the beginning of the show, all these handles on YouTube can have to get used to that as well with all of this change going on. I think Canadians want justice. We need to start justifying everything we do, including government. That's Jesse, I believe. And Denise says, New Brunswick, Alberta example, change comes from the halls and the people. If your halls are empty, everything is a free fall. And people doing something for, there's a lot of people who feel, well, what are you complaining about? You know, being called conspiracy theorists just for questioning the government or questioning some of these policies and things like that, which isn't very healthy for a society when you want to have a discussion and you ask a question and, oh no, you're just called a conspiracy theorist. And then when you try to dig into maybe some of the reasons behind it, it's almost like, why are you going through that effort? Like, why are you even looking at that? Like, why aren't you just trusting everything you're being told from the government and from media? You know what I mean? Like, you're one of those conspiracy theorist people. And it's really, you know, it comes from an ignorant, uneducated, non-critical thinking, I think, mindset. If you're thinking that way, maybe you should look into a few things every once in a while. You'll be surprised what you find. Our money will be worthless sooner or later. And I do believe you are right on that one. Many indications, I don't want to be an alarmist, not like we're open to being an alarmist. We're okay to be a climate alarmist, no problem. But if you're a economic alarmist, it's like, whoa, why are you talking like that? There's many economists saying we're in for a very dark time in terms of the economy, and it can happen anytime. You wake up in the morning and the bank just tells you, sorry, you know, the whole world just went bankrupt, you know, and that's it. It's done. We're going to have the Great Reset, come up with a new format for our economies, right? We've heard that before. So there you go. So let's just backtrack a little bit, and we'll look into a little bit of local news, like we were going to do. But just because some of you already started commenting on food prices and things like that, and I know I had that video shared with me, so thank you very much for sharing that from the Canadian Taxpayers Federation. They are the ones that are watchdogs for that, and it's great to hear them when they're uncovering different things going on in terms of taxes being placed on the backs and being very burdensome on the people of Canada. You can't just tax your way out of incompetence. You know what I mean? It just doesn't work. It's just gonna keep going down and down and down and down. But then maybe that's part of the plan. It's either incompetence or it's on purpose. I have no idea. It's one of the two. Okay, so going through Sudbury.news on the main page, it's the aggregator of all of the news headlines of the day. Ontario Liberal leadership race heats up as candidates take aim at Bonnie Crombie. Multiple public opinion polls suggested Crombie is the current frontrunner. MP Nate Erskine Smith, MP and former provincial cabinet minister Yasir Naqvi, and Ted Hugh, a former Liberal MP and current provincial caucus member, all took turns taking aim at Crombie. But it looks like Crombie will be the one to take that position, as far as I can see. Accused fraudster due in Sudbury Court today. David Murray of Eco-Life Home Improvements is scheduled to resolve unrelated matters. So, Yeah. For more on that story comes from the Sudbury Star. If you remember that back a couple of years ago, he was accused of stealing some people's money and giving false promises to people on work being done. And anyways, so he's back in court on an unrelated matter. So not sure how that makes headlines, but has nothing to do with his previous dealings. But if you want to read more on that, it's sudburystar.com. Dispute over marijuana smoke led to student's death